Hey everyone, Tim Higgins here. So we're going to look at this cool little workaround here for release automation in Windows. So one of the things about Windows, well, what you're looking at here is I've installed the complete release automation on one laptop. Okay, so this is my workspace. But what we want to focus on is the fact that you can't install more than one agent on a Windows machine. If you notice, I went ahead and did the complete install, which gave me a default agent. Now, I couldn't install another agent because you can't have two services running with the same name. So it's not a limitation on release automation. It's really a limitation on Windows. So we're going to do a workaround with that. First thing I want to do is stop. And let's go ahead and put a little notepad up here. And what we need is, so we have a default agent. And I'm going to leave it as that. And then we're going to need a dev agent. And then a QA agent. And then we'll say a non-prod. Now the scope of this would be is if you have multiple agents that you wanted to run on one machine but have different jobs. Okay, for an example, all my development processes would be using this agent, while all my non-prod processes would be using this agent, but I want them all on one machine. Okay, now technically I could remove this default agent, which it's called the Nolio agent you see here in the background. But we're going to leave it there just for sake of sanity, I guess. So first thing we do is make sure it's stopped. And I will have all this documented as well. And then what we want to do is go to its root, where it's installed. And I've already installed it, so you don't have to watch me. And then this is actually the default one. So it's in the actually in the root of the actual installer. And then there is these functions that we need to go through. The first one we need to do is remove the service. Okay, now this is a set of wrappers that helps wrap up the application into a Windows service. So this is the set of functions we need to kind of play with. Excuse me. So now if I hit refresh, it's gone. Okay, so now we need to go to the root again where it's installed. It's really not important that we make a change here because I don't want to change these, but the file that you're going to care about is this wrapper.config. So let's open it up. Now, I could change the name here because that's one thing we can do in the other agents, but we're not. I just want to document the port that this JMX is using. That is very important because you can't have two with the same port. And even though you don't have to do anything with this port, you do have to make sure they're not the same throughout this whole process. All right. So now what we're going to do is go download another agent. Okay. So now if we go back to our UI, download the agent is just simple as clicking here. Say download. That's going to download this agent. I'm going to say go. Very importantly, make sure your other agent is not in your services. Okay. I need some background music or something, don't I? Okay, it's almost done. All right. And simple here. Next. Unfortunately, this is one of those you got. Nobody really reads these anyway, but you got to scroll to the bottom anyway just to continue. And next, and then next. Now, I don't like mine. Well, first of all, I don't like it installed on the C drive. And since these are just agents, I don't want to clutter up my server install. So, and we're going to name this one dev. Okay, so I'm using the local service. That's fine. Now you can change that if you wanted to. The port here is important. So this one is 6901. Now this is not the same port we talked about earlier. This is the actual port that the agent will be listening on. Okay, this one out of the box is 600 or 6900. Okay, so you want to keep document of that because that's important. Also in your firewall, that's what I was saying. In your firewall, if you haven't opened these, then you're gonna have to open those. Now here, the node ID, it picks up my PC name by default, but we're going to call this dev Nolio. You know what? So it's easier to Nolio agent dev. Okay, that's my execution server, so we're good there. Next. This takes a second because it tries to connect, and then it just installs. I would pause the video and come back, but it's very fast, so there's no reason to do that. And that's also why I didn't record the actual server install, because it did take a little bit to install it. Okay, so patience, patience, almost there. Okay. Yes, go. Sorry, that was actually unzipping. This is the install. I guess I'll do what, nope, we're good. Okay, so this is a shortcut. I don't care about a shortcut, so we're going to not do that because I don't need a shortcut to the agent. And we're done. Now, if I hit refresh or F5 over here, I now see the Nolio agent. Now, if you're following, you see the problem now. The original one was called Nolio agent. This one's called Nolio agent. Windows wouldn't let you install two services with the same name. But now we've got it. Oh, let's make sure we stop this one. I'm not sure stopping's important. It's just best practice. You kind of want to do that, right? Now let's go ahead and jump back to here to where that one's installed. So we called it Nolio, right? Saying it's not there yet. Let's see. Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. I started with dev. I should have started with Nolio, but that's okay. So now we do our remove. Okay, that's going to remove the agent. Now I'm going to do this so many times you're going to be bored of it. The agent's not there even though it's showing it there. You just have to hit refresh. So we're not going to keep doing that because we want to make this go a little bit faster. So we're going to open up our wrapper. Now here's where not only am I going to change the port, but I'm going to change the name. So it's this wrapper NT service name. I'm going to call this dev. Right below it, display name is dev. Now, and then the service description name, we'll put dev. Now, what this really does is it really just modifies the actual the service, the Windows service. It does not modify the agent. So we'll go back and do that shortly. The other thing I want to make sure is that port. Remember, I told you it couldn't be this right here. So we're going to make this one 3. Okay. And then we're just going to make sure we document this. This is our dev. Okay, I'll go ahead and save this one. And we're good to go. Now we need to go and create the service because the service is gone. And you know, I will show you that just to prove a point. So I'll say F5. Okay, notice the service is gone. So now let's go back and create the service. All right, so what we need is install. Okay, and that should have created for us. So now we have a Nolio dev agent. And again, notice here it says Nolio dev, and if I go to properties, you'll see it. I thought there was a, oh yeah, right here. So Nolio dev, Nolio dev, Nolio dev. So that's really what you just changed. Now, what we need to do, we're fine leaving this one. Let's go ahead and make it run. We're fine leaving this one because it's not called Nolio agent. But we're going to go ahead and install one more just for kicks and giggles. I'm not going to, let's go to my downloads. I was going to say I'm not going to re-download this installer because you've already seen it. Just go to the UI, click agent, you're good. So patience, we'll let this run through this. And I think by now you should get a feel of kind of where the incident is. Like I said, Windows, it's really a limitation on Windows, but how do you make it work? And make sure you read all this, okay? Take notes. And then accept. Okay, let's install. And we'll call this one QA. Okay. Yep, I'm cool with that. Next. Now here, this has got to change to 2. Let's just go ahead and document for kicks and giggles. Okay, so port here. Okay, remember this one's 6900, 6901, 6902. You're tracking, right? That would be 6903. And you can just go directly to your firewall and make sure there's open. Where are we? Here. Okay, and I want this to be called Nolio Agent QA. Okay, and here that's my execution server. That's good. going to try to connect to the server. The reason it's kind of pausing. It's fine. Now here it's kind of cool because it realizes that this agent already has this port open, and it says, hey, you can't do that. The reason it didn't give us that earlier is because we had the agent turned off. Okay, so this one's going to be this one. JMX port equals. Oh, already got one. So let's go with 4 this time. Okay. All right, so we're good there. And then go. All right, so that's kind of the big thing that you got to do. You got to stop the agent if you have one already installed, and then you have to remove it. And then once you removed it, you install another one. It's going to take that name, and then you stop that one, remove it, change its settings, and then restart it, and then reinstall it, and then restart it. Technically, the first one you wouldn't have to do. So I started taking notes. I'm not sure where they are. Oh, here they are. So that's from the installer. 1 second. So this CA did say this is not officially supported, but it does work. Okay. So you stop the Nolio service. You remove the agent by running this file right here. And don't worry, I'm going to make this a cleaner document. And then you modify your web config. You want to change the name, the display name, and the description. I don't think this is really important, but just do it for sake of sanity, right? Save the file, reinstall it by running this, and then once it's done, then you can install the second one. Then make sure you change the listener port, which we talked about that. Make sure you change this JMX as well, okay? And the node ID, yeah, you can't have two. It's basically the names, right? You can't have two names with the same one. So let's kind of look at that. So I didn't create a shortcut there. I'm good. The good thing about these agents, they kind of remember your settings, so it's pretty cool. And that's how you can do a silent install. Now, what do we have here? Refresh. So we have this one, and we installed this one to QA. If you don't remember we installed it, you can go to Properties, and you can just grab it from here. Okay. I mean, the good thing about Windows is well, I guess Linux too, but there's a lot of good shortcuts too. So now that that's there, remember, first thing we got to do is remove it. Okay. Well, I was supposed to stop it. Let's see if it stop it. Yeah, it stops it for me. Okay, cool. And then what we've got to do is go change our config file. So let's go here, here, y'all, and we need to change the name. So we'll call this QA. And QA. Okay. And now we gotta go. Now the funny thing I noticed is even sometimes it asks me for that port setting. It doesn't seem like it changes it here. So you notice it didn't change it. So I like to change it just because to me it makes me feel better. Okay. And maybe I'm misreading that. Maybe it changed the other one. We may want to go look at that, but I don't think so. When we get done, you know what, we can do it now. So let's go ahead and close this before we get too crazy. These are, let's close these. So what we have, let's get rid of that, minimize that. This is our QA agent. Before we start it, we're going to go check these others real quick. That's why you want to start with Nolio agent dev, Nolio agent QA, because it puts them together, but that's okay. Let's go to config, and let's just look at this real quick. I just want to make sure our ports are okay. Port. So that's one was 2.4, that's 2.3. So what we said dev was, well, I said it backwards, but you get it right. 8.2, 8.3. Cool. And then we have our default one, which is actually in the server itself. Oh yeah, that's it. Okay, release automation, Nolio agent, config. Come on, seriously. Config, and then wrapper, open window plus plus, and do a find for the port. Okay, okay, cool. So they're all different. Now that's very important. So if you do another one, then you're good. So let's go back and start the QA one, because that's where we left off at. Let's close these, just give us some real estate. And we need QA. So we'll go back to here, here. We installed it in QA. I should have started with Nolio instead of the word QA just because it makes it cleaner in my drive. And then install. So we made the change, we didn't install it. Okay, it says it's done. If we do an F5, now we got a QA, a dev. Now let's go ahead and go start the other one back too. So if we go back to here, program, CA, release automation, Nolio agent, and then install service. Now you gotta be careful because there's other, like we're installing deploy, you don't want to install this one, you want to do that one. If we go hit refresh, it's there. Let's make sure they're all running. Okay, now I'm actually going to pause the video for a second just to give them enough time to actually start up and connect and all that cool stuff in the background. Okay, so now let's see what we've got. Now, we're going to launch the Automation Studio. Windows thinks that JNLP is a virus, which it's not. And while that's launching, we're going to go into Rock. Now here, my widgets are kind of off base. I don't really care about that. So yours hopefully doesn't look like that. But what we're going to do, we're going to go and look at kind of what we've got first. And then we're going to play it out a little bit. So if I go look at, sorry, that popped up. If I go look at my agents assignments, I see all my agents. My QA, my Nolio, my default. Okay, pretty cool, huh? Now, I'm going to show you a trick that kind of didn't work for me at first. If I go to administration and we click on agent management, and if you click on these, down here will say the node ID, like this is our default agent. And if you need to rename this, mine, when I first did it, had all the same name. You can right click, you should be able to edit. I'm sorry, I thought you could right click and say edit, but that's because it's not connected. If it's connected, you can right click. I'm not sure why it's showing unreachable because they're local and they are reachable. It could be a port thing, but that's okay. But if you click on here, this little pencil and have it highlighted, then you can change the name. Okay, just keep that in mind. So changing the name is just highlighting it and click on the pencil. Because just because the node ID is what we set up when we did the install, but it doesn't change the name. So again, you just have to click on this pencil. Then when you change the name, it actually shows up over here as that name. All right. Now, why would you want to do this? We're going to do this one more time, and then we're just going to be done with this. So if I go to, sorry, I was talking, not paying attention. Let's just say new application, delete this demo. And in this one, we're going to have, we'll go ahead and edit this server type. So we can do server types or we can do architecture. I'm just going to do it as a server type, just keep it simple. This is going to be my dev. Okay. And this is going to be my QA. And then we'll add one more for pre-prod. Now, if I go to agents assignments, okay, I'm probably clicking too fast, but just, you know, pause the video or whatever it takes. Ask me. So, pre-prod didn't come over. Let's go look. Maybe I didn't hit save. Well, it's okay. You get it. I'm not going to waste time. So, in dev, I only want this one right here. So now anything that's executing through the server type is going to execute from this agent. In QA, I only want this one, so I have to uncheck that one. And there we go. And I don't care too much about pre-prod. I can go back and see why I didn't create it. I probably didn't hit save. But if we had a pre-prod agent, then we can use it for there. If we had any others, I guess if we, pre-prod. Oh, I need to sign in all that good stuff. But that's okay. If you had another one for default, then let's just, if you had another one for default, what you could do then is have, that's why I didn't show up. Let's just create a, I'm not sure what this one would be, but other. Let's go ahead and sign it to an architect. Say select all. Save. Oops, not that. Okay, now they all showed up. So other, we may want to be our default. And then if we had a pre-prod agent, we may want it here. All right, for kicks and giggles, we could do whatever we want. Anyway, what we did do was we proved the concept that we can have multiple agents. If I go look at my services, I now have 1, 2, 3 agents. Sorry, I was about to go to pre-prod, but we didn't do that one. I have 3 agents that are running on the same Windows machine. So I hope all this makes sense. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Like I said, I will have this document, so hopefully I can provide that as well. Thank you.